Hey guys, me with another video here. By request, I am going to be doing something a little bit different, and I'm going to give some tips for live show judges. Now personally, I don't judge, but I know how it works and everything like that, so I'm going to go over how this works. So, say these horses right here. This is your warm blood class. Here's your ring for the warm blood class. Now, as a judge, you only have about 5 to 7 seconds for your first impression of each horse, especially if it's a really big class. I mean, if it's little, like this one right here, you definitely have a bit more time to work with it, but you'll start going through, get your first impressions. This horse, you think, oh, he looks amazing, but he has a little bit of dust on him, so you kind of keep that in mind. And then you go over to this horse. Ooh, she's super pretty, and oh, look at that fun documentation. Then you go over to this one. Oh, that's the same horse as the last one, but this one doesn't have a documentation. And then you go to this horse right here, and you think, ooh, he's got some little rubs all over him. That's probably not good. And then you go over to this one, think, oh, wow, that's a good example of the breed. And then you find this one here, and you're like, ooh, a draft horse doesn't belong in the warm blood class. Because this guy right here, he's a Percheron. He doesn't belong here. So what a lot of judges do, especially in big classes, like, I mean, you don't have to in this class, but what they do, they'll usually take a little bitty piece of paper, and you can put it right in front of the horse so you know, okay, this poor guy, he doesn't go here, or oh, I know I don't have to take a second look at him. Then you see this one. Ooh, that's pretty. That's a gorgeous Appaloosa sport horse. So now that you've gone through there, then you go take a little closer looks at them. So like we said with this one, that one's got a little dust on him. He's probably not going to place as high. She looks gorgeous. You kind of read through the documentation a little bit. Then you go here and pay attention to their breeds. See like, ooh, that's a good example of them. One good thing is have a little bit of a knowledge of breeds before you go judge your first show. Then you go to this horse. And by the way, no, judges are not allowed to touch horses, other people's horses, but in the case of horses of tippy models like this, he likes to fall a lot. So you do give the judge permission to pick up your horse if you lay him on his side. So the judge can pick him up, look at the side there, and then you think, ooh, he's got a lot of rubs all over him. That's probably not good, especially like right there, lots of rubs. Then you look at this one. Ooh, that's really pretty. It's like, it's gorgeous. Lots of fun markings, pretty shading. And pretend this one has a little hoof tag, by the way. I didn't make one for him. And remember, you're skipping over this guy. And you think, ooh, that one's a pretty one too. And pretend I didn't pick that last one up. But then you're looking a little closer and you find, ooh, he's got some rubs on his leg. Lots of rubs there. And then, of course, you know, like I said, you want to have some knowledge of these breeds, especially more popular ones like Oldenburgs, Trakehner, Dutch Warmbloods, stuff like that. You want to have some knowledge of them. Now, say there's horses in the class. A lot of times with big classes, you'll get an instance where you have the exact same model in the same class. So you got to judge them against each other. Now, first, you'll look for damage and stuff like that. Now, both these girls right here, they're both perfect. None of them have any rubs or anything. So then you look closer. This one's it's a warmer color. She's definitely a much warmer color than this girl right here, who's a better example of a flea-bitten gray. Now, they're both amazing, but then you go to the documentation. That documentation can make the difference between first and second place. So there's all that. And now say you finally get down to it, you realize, ooh, I like this one, and this one. Who do I place first? And at that point, if they're all really pretty, just go by personal preference. A lot of judges will do that if it's hard to figure out if they all are amazing examples of their breed, perfect condition. It's hard to decide, so you can go by personal preference. And then lastly, once you have everything figured out, now a lot of judges will write things down on a little card, the right, which one comes in first and everything like that. And then at this point, once you have everything figured out, you'll take their little cards, flip it over, get the entrant's name, because keep in mind, you don't want to see the entrant's name while you're judging. Sometimes people think that's kind of playing favorites and they don't like that. So now that you have everything figured out, everything's written down, you start pinning your horses, which means you're placing them. So your first place, which in America is your blue ribbon, you'll say, ooh, I really like Mercury. There you go. And then for your second place, you realize, ooh, I really like this boy right here. And then, you know, there's the third place. Fourth place is generally white. So you'll go over here. And then for your fifth place, that's pink. Now, even though this guy over here has a lot of dust on him, you can still place him. Now, like, disqualifying your horse, which is what it's called, doesn't mean you're not going to get a ribbon. So if you're in a tiny class of like 3 horses, and say it was these 3 horses right here, that one would generally be first, second, and third. Even though he's in the wrong class, he could still place third, but he wouldn't nan or anything like that. And then for your last place one, can be this boy right here, just because he's covered in rubs. Now keep in mind though, that even if you have a horse that's on its side, that doesn't mean they'll place lower. Now I've had a lot of horses where they're very tippy, like I have my little trotting foal, he falls down all the time, but he places very well. And then I have my weather girl, my thunderstorm, she placed extremely well her first show, even though she was on her side. So don't play favorites in that respect. Don't just be like, oh, they're laying on their side, that means they won't place, or oh, that means they're in bad condition. You know, you don't want to do that. You don't want to play favorites like that. The only reason this one got last place right here is because he's covered in lots of rubs. He doesn't have very nice crisp markings. So there's that for you. I can give some more tips for you if you want. Just let me know other tips that you want to know, and I'll make another video. Thanks so much.